Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and hope that you're having yourselves a fantastic day here on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course we're also on YouTube, so hi to everybody on YouTube. Started doing that this year as well, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So happy to have you all here hanging out inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, plenty of locations for you to get out to. You can go to any one of their locations on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, to get your coffee, get your tea, support local, get their awesome sandwiches. The Upstate is my favorite, as well as all of their awesome, the chocolate chip banana bread, the chocolate bread, their muffins, everything they have to offer. Make sure you get out to see them at Cafe Kubal. And of course, you can go and visit them in Manlius now at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So however you connect with them, thank you so much for heading out there and showing Cafe Kubal some love. They've navigated through these very tough times with you, and they've done it to me in such a great way. Have really just worked to be the best that they can be at this time, and we've all gone through tough times. We have all tried to navigate through this, and I want to applaud all of the companies in our community that have worked so tirelessly to make sure that they could stay here, stay with us, and continue to flourish and to grow, and Cafe Kubal being one of those places. So make sure you go out to them today and say thank you however and wherever and whenever you can. A cup of coffee, a cup of tea goes a very long way. You have no idea. So, or maybe you do. So thank you for going out to Cafe Kubal and showing them some love, and for everything that you bring to the table with all of our wonderful companies that we have the opportunity to work with. I want to thank everyone who's watching and listening, or if you know someone who's out there in the community that has been to Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Honda City of Liverpool, Avicolli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. For all of you that have gone out to these local businesses and to these businesses that may have those international names but are very local to us in Honda, Carvel, and Chick-fil-A, I want to thank you all for reaching out to these companies and for giving back to our community, because as we build back up again, we build together. And the more we give, the more eventually we'll come back around. So thank you for all that you do. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning, inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Two awesome guests, followed by one of the segments that we have for you every single week that I love to do, and that being the ingredients to success. But before we get there, Coach Q is going to be joining us in just a little bit. Coach Q will be joining us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, so about 20 minutes away from those of you that are watching here live. Coach Q is going to join us coming off of the Syracuse Orange women's basketball team advancing to the Final Four of the ACC tournament. He'll be joining us to speak coming off of that and heading into the NCAA tournament as the team is anticipating. Obviously, being there now, it's just a seeding question. So we'll talk with him about all of that coming up in just a little bit in hour number one. And then in hour number two, I will be joined by Jaron Willis. Jaron Willis, no stranger to the broadcast. He announced his top 10 exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We got to do a live feed exclusive release of his top 10, and when I got to do that, it was really cool. You can actually go back and watch it, and I'll share it today for those of you that haven't seen it, or for those of you that just want to watch it back. And what we got to do is I put up a picture of Jaron, and then around him I had all the logos invisible, and I didn't know who he was going to tell me, so I had to put up all the logos, and then as he told me the schools, I took them from being hidden to popping out, and so the graphics just show up. Each of the schools that he picks just shows up around him because you didn't know which one was coming. So very cool thing. We got to do the exclusive top 10 release with Jaron Willis, and now he's getting ready for his top 5. He's going to join us today to talk about that, as well as everything else that's going on with him, including the fact that he's got plenty more offers since announcing his top 10. A bunch of other schools came in, including South Alabama, as well as Michigan, Miami, UCF have all come in to give him offers as well. So we'll be talking with him about that at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, which will lead us right into the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Appreciate Avicolli so very much and cannot wait to bring you today's topic and today's ingredients to success. So, with all of that being stated, welcome to Wake Up Call. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're taking care of yourself as well as being good to others. Today's show, I want to start things off with the ACC tournament on the men's side because it officially starts today. So just to kind of paint the picture now, I'm going to be doing my bracket release as a separate live video on Wake Up Call. We're going to carry that here in the studio. We're going to have it on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. We'll have it on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And I'm going to try and carry it on Instagram Live as well. So we're going to try and go live on Instagram and at WakeUpCall_DT. We're going to try and do that there. It's going to be our test show for our live Instagram. For those of you that follow Dan on Disney, my, of course, Disney show, we did a live Instagram show over the weekend after I saw Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a great movie, by the way, and you should go see it. You should also follow at Dan on Disney. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We got to do like I said, we got to do the Instagram feed for Dan on Disney, and it worked out great. So we'll look to do that for at WakeUpCall_DT today when I release my bracket for the ACC tournament. So a lot of great stuff coming up. Also, Tea with Rex is coming up too. For those of you that don't know, I just released a video that I'm going to be doing a show every other week of the year. So 26 weeks of the year, I'll be doing a Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inspired broadcast that will be coming from the Wake Up Call family. It's called Tea with Rex. Obviously, I'm T, Dan, and Rex is Rex. And I thought it was a cool play off of T-Rex. Also, tea like drinking some tea with Rex. So Tea with Rex is going to be coming to you every other Tuesday, officially starting out live today. And so we're going to air our first show on Facebook Live, and you're going to be able to see Rex, and picture in picture, his face and my face as we go live. Rex Culpepper going to be joining me for Tea with Rex, and that's going to be happening every other Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right after Wake Up Call goes live. And he will be with me starting this Tuesday, March 9th. So for those of you that know about the Tammy Reese's show, Reese's Pieces, that she does with me as part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Reese's Pieces is every other Monday. Tea with Rex is every other Tuesday. So when you see Tammy on a Monday, you know the next week Rex is on a Tuesday, and then back to Tammy on a Monday. So that's how you do it, is that you get Tammy every other Monday, and then on the weeks you don't have Tammy, you get Rex on Tuesday. So Reese's Pieces and Tea with Rex, 2 new creations starting here in 2021 that feature some awesome people connected to our wonderful, beautiful Central and Upstate New York community. And Rex Culpepper and I will be starting out Tea with Rex officially today at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time as he joins me from Tampa and the state of Florida, the second home of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, I'm up here in Central New York. So very much looking forward to that. So make sure that you go to Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and bookmark it so you can watch Tea with Rex every other Tuesday starting today, which is Tuesday, March 9th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be talking about everything, literally everything. So it is Tea with Rex. I mean, we're essentially going to be running the gamut. We could talk about anything at any given time. And I'm very much looking forward to having Rex on the show. The idea was born out of Rex coming on the show just a few weeks ago to tell his story about everything he went through with cancer and everything that, with coming into Syracuse immediately when there was a coaching change, being one of 4 of the 22 verbal commits that ended up coming to Syracuse after Schaefer and his staff were let go, and then not having the opportunity to be the starting quarterback, and then how he got the starting job and not having it all the time and everything. So we'll talk about, Rex and I definitely, I love the fact that he is someone who has responded to adversity with positivity, and he's kept going. And so we're going to do this show to keep going with you and talk with you about the hard stuff, talk with you about the things that get you down and bog you down, and let you know that we all go through it and we'll all get through it together. So Rex and I here to bring you positivity, and bring you topics that could be anything, any given Tuesday that we're doing the show. So very much looking forward to bringing that to you live every other Tuesday, starting today at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that being stated, a lot of great stuff coming on here Tuesday, March 9th, including the fact that we have the official jump-off of the ACC tournament. And so I wanted to get into the ACC tournament with you. Like I said, I'm going to do my ACC tournament bracket unveil show separately, but we can at least discuss the bracket and discuss what's going on. So with that being stated this morning, a lot of, obviously all 15 schools are involved. A lot of fun. I get excited about this every single year because I love tourney time. And the more teams, the better. If I was the head of the NCAA, if I was the president, we'd be having an inordinate amount. We would have so many schools, and I'd try and get as many schools as possible in the NCAA tournament. So just because, I love it so much, and so I very much look forward to conference tourney time. This is the time of year where I plan out my own bracketology, and I do my own bracket, so I'm also looking forward to doing that and sharing that with you this week. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, but I will be releasing my bracket later today before the games start, which I'm very, very much looking forward to doing. But before I do that, I want to let you all know this is the schedule. And the crazy thing about this is the world changed last year right around this time, March 9th. And when the world did that, it was right. Obviously it was ACC tournament time. And here we are again. And so it's very surreal. Very surreal. But my hopes this time around is that we get it done, we get through it, we do this together, and we find a way. And we will. We will. Because the human race is resilient. We are strong. Yeah, there's some knuckleheads in the human race, but there's also some really, really great people. And with the great people of the world, we will find a way to navigate through this and be okay. I believe that. And so let's stay positive. Let's stay together. Well, let's get through this together, because we are much better together than we will ever be apart. I truly believe that. I know that to be true. We are better together than apart. So stay focused, stay positive, be the best person you can be, and know that we will get through this together, because that's how life is supposed to be spent, right? Together. So in this ACC tournament that we get to have this year, thank God, and all the tournaments that we get to have and get to go through, and I'm happy that the Syracuse Orange women's team got to go through their tournament, and we'll be talking with Coach Q in just a little bit, like I had stated earlier, so very much looking forward to that. But as we look at the tournament right now, for the men's side of things for the ACC, it starts today officially, and so the first round is today, March 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We officially begin the ACC tournament in Greensboro, North Carolina, where number 12 Pitt will take on number 13 Miami on the ACC network at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hard to believe that they're playing on the first day. Normally they get a double bye and they end up playing in the top 4, but they're a number 10 seed this year. Number 10 Duke will play number 15 seeded Boston College, who has Scott Spinelli as their interim head coach, as Jim Christian was just on the show yesterday. Go back and watch and listen to that. Jim Christian was on the show here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and you can also get it on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. He was here with us after he was let go, and so Scott Spinelli, the interim head coach, was the assistant on the team. He will be coaching against Coach K today on ACC Network at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, hard to believe that Duke is playing as the 10 seed and that they're playing on day 1 or day 2. The number 11 seeded Notre Dame and Mike Bray will take on number 14 Wake Forest on the ACC Network at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to round us out from today. And then on Wednesday, March 10th, we'll see number 8 Syracuse take on number 9 NC State on the ACC Network to start the day at noon, which is a total flip for Syracuse. Typically, Syracuse is at the bottom of the bracket, and they usually are the last game played, so they're usually playing until close to midnight. Instead, they'll be playing early in the afternoon. So, I guess you got something to tell your boss, or if you're at home, you can watch the game and your boss won't know, which is great. So at noon Eastern Time, number 8 Syracuse takes on number 9 NC State on the ACC Network. At 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on day 2, we'll see number 5 Clemson take on Pitt or Miami on the ACC Network. At 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll see number 7 Louisville take on Duke or Boston College on the ACC Network. And at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll see number 6 North Carolina take on Notre Dame or Wake Forest. And then we won't see number 1 Virginia, number 2 Florida State, number 3 Virginia Tech, or number 4 Georgia Tech until the quarterfinals, that double bye I was talking about that typically Duke is a part of. Friday will be our semis at 6:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, respectively. And our championship game, Saturday, March 13th, the day before Selection Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So a lot of great stuff coming up with the ACC tournament, and I will be giving you my ACC tournament bracket predictions 9 p.m. later on today. And our very much game Saturday, March 13th, the day before. So make sure you stay tuned for that because I will be bringing you my bracket today, and always look forward to doing that. And I'm going to be opening up a new bracket challenge. We hit records on Yahoo like crazy. We made the front page of over 60,000 brackets in the. I mean, it was something ridiculous. The amount of bracket pools in the nation. We were top 15, top 20, which was incredible. So, very, very much looking forward to getting the bracket back out there for you. But, yep, the ACC tournament going on today. Very excited about it. Hopefully you have the ACC Network. If you don't, then, of course, you have places like Pizza Man. If you're out in Baldwinsville, you have Pizza Man that you can venture off to. If you're out in the Camillus, Marcellus area, you have the Wildcat Sports Pub to go check out as well. Pizza Man and the Wildcat will be airing all of those games, of that I am sure. And so you'll be able to go and see them at those locations. I'm going to be watching all the games. I will also be, because it's an interesting year, I will be remotely doing interviews, fingers crossed. We're hoping and praying for that. So I'll be remotely doing interviews with the coaches and players, hopefully, for the ACC tournament, which, I mean, that's the whole point, right? So the whole point of me going down there is to get those interviews and have those conversations. So the fact that I will have the opportunity to hopefully do it by the grace of God today, I'm very much looking forward to, and throughout the tournament. So very much looking forward to doing that. So make sure you tune in to the feeds and listen for me on there, as God willing I will be there. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. So Pitt, Miami, Duke, Boston College, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, starting off the week here, starting off the ACC tournament. And when we look at what's going on already with, the tournaments and whatnot, for the teams that have already secured themselves and the things that have already happened. So, the conference tournament schedule, as you know, is all over the place. And so, some conferences play all the way up until the end and, right before Selection Sunday, like the ACC, and other ones, have already punched their tickets. So we look at this right now and what's going on. So as far as the tournament schedules, the American Athletic is starting in Fort Worth, Texas, as their new home is in Texas, not Rhode Island anymore. So they will be starting their tournament on March 11th. The ACC, of course, starting it today on March 9th. And the America East has had it on different dates, but they will be finishing theirs on March 13th. The Atlantic 10 started theirs on different days as well. and they'll be finishing it on March 14th. The Atlantic Sun has already declared that Liberty will be moving on. So Liberty, that you know for football as a thorn in Syracuse's side, Liberty, basketball-wise on the men's side, is also advancing to the postseason like they did in football. The Big South has already punched the ticket for Winthrop, has moved on. Loyola Chicago in the Missouri Valley has moved on. Morehead State in the Ohio Valley has advanced to the NCAA tournament. UNC Greensboro, so right there where Syracuse is going to be and the rest of the ACC, Greensboro moving out of the Southern Conference into the NCAA tournament. And Appalachian State, who you also know for being a football thorn in the side for a bunch of teams, is moving out of the Sun Belt and into the NCAA tournament. So some tickets have already been punched, and the Ivy League is not hosting a tournament. They decided well in advance they weren't going to be playing this year, so the Ivy League will send nobody. That frees up a spot, but we still have to find out who's coming out of the AAC, the ACC, the America East, the Big Sky, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Big West, the Colonial, Conference USA, the Horizon League, the MAAC, the MAC, the MEAC, as well as the Mountain West, the Northeast, the Pac-12, the Patriot League, which decided to continue on, the SEC, the Southland Conference, the Summit League, the SWAC, the WAC, and the West Coast Conference will have their championship tonight. So, a lot of great stuff coming up as the NCAA tournament is getting more and more clear, more and more near, which is creating, I would imagine, in many of our minds and our hearts, that hope, restoring that hope. I don't want to say creating, but restoring that hope that we had that things will all work out and things will pan out okay. So, I'm very much looking forward to it. Very high hopes, and I can't wait for it. And speaking of the NCAA tournament, Coach Q is going to be joining Wake Up Call right after this fast break where sports meets that thing called life. So stay tuned to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as Q joins us right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcall DT, proud to be hanging out here with you where sports meets life every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're also watching on Facebook Live as well on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, all inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. So, with that being stated, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', Coach Q is here with us, and Coach has always got it poppin'. I mean, that's what it's about. The letter Q now has a face. I mean, I think we should do a Sesame Street with Coach Q, and when we're learning the letters, like, he is the letter Q, because I think he's more than earned the right to take that letter and make it his own. So he is here with us this morning. Always great having Q on the show, so let's bring him in. Coach, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you think about that, trying to, pull some strings and get you on Sesame Street to represent the letter Q?
I fully support that, first of all. Let's start with that. And secondly, Cafe Cabal, man, love that place. You pick some good places.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's your thing at Cafe Kubal? Because I know Carl Sanfilippo, when we go out there, he just gets like the black coffee with nothing in it.
Yeah. Straight espresso, double espresso. I might get a shot of vanilla, so every now and then to jazz it up. But straight espresso does it every time, man. Double shot.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I expect nothing less from you, Q, than an espresso and a double shot at that. So you always got that energy, man. I mean, do you ever turn down, or is it always turned up?
No. Either turn it on, right? Turn it all the way up, or turn it off. That's the deal. That's the deal, man.
Here with Coach Q this morning, Syracuse Orange women's basketball head coach. Q, you had the opportunity to, obviously have your season, and some people didn't. Some teams inside of the ACC, like Duke, decided to end their season early. What can you tell me now that we're in tournament time, we're in postseason time? What can you say about, the resiliency to try and make sure that there was a season, and the fact that you actually got to have one?
Totally worth it. I mean, when you get to this point where you've done everything you can do to stay safe, and one thing that I can definitely say, I mean, we're at a university that has done the most. They were the front runners, and they were just really integral in getting the testing 3 to 4 times a week. All the policies, our sports medicine department was involved in creating the policies for the ACC, and they were in the forefront of all this stuff. So I always tell myself and I tell our team, where could we have been in this world right now to be getting multiple testing opportunities per week, and to know that you're safe throughout this whole pandemic. And we've been testing here since it started, and we just got tested again this morning. So we're testing all the time. So we know what our status is, and that's very important.
And that's the thing is, different places have different rules and regulations and whatnot. And you spoke on the fact that, Syracuse is big on making sure that you're testing consistently. I know the ACC Medical Advisory Group came out with, certain things that need to be met and that they ask of it. Just from your perspective, what that has all, done for you and done for athletics. I know you talked about it a little bit there, but the fact that, you are testing so much and you're trying to really make sure that you have no doubt whatsoever if somebody is sick or something's going on, just what you can say to that respect, because different conferences have different criteria and there's different things that are going on. We saw it with football when Syracuse and Liberty were kind of saying, okay, well, you do things this way, we do it that way, you're going to have to follow our protocol to play us. Just what you can say about, going through protocol at Syracuse, how important it's been, and did you run into any snags with other schools?
No, we ran into no snags with other schools. Let's start with that. But I mean, secondly, what it allowed us to do was to play and to be safe. And I think that's all anybody and everybody wanted through this whole pandemic is, how can we play? How can we play the game safely? And honestly, I never had a doubt either way of being safe or playing the games being here, because we just knew what our path was to play the games. And they were, John Wow had really, put forth the effort and the finances to get this done. Chancellor Severud was unbelievable. He was the spokesperson for all the presidents in the ACC, and he was masterful in getting this done. And we can go down the road. Brad Pike was amazing, sports medicine director here, and I mean, I'm gonna listen, just name all these people, but most of all, it was our student athletes who got it done.
Yeah, and you talk about John Wildhack, the AD, as well as the Chancellor Kent Severud, and what they did at the top. Just what you can say about their leadership through this time, through COVID, and through all of the crazy. I mean, this has been a very interesting year, and I mean, really, we're talking a year to the date of when I felt everything changed back on March 9th of 2020. So just what you could say about the leadership a little bit more with Kent Severud as well as John Wildhack, how they handled a pandemic when it's obviously something we weren't ready for, nor was it something we would ever have anticipated.
And they have been stellar. I mean, and everything that we've done through this, they have been stellar. That they've been forthcoming on everything. There were no surprises. I think that's the biggest thing. No one was surprised with any of the policies or procedures. There was no stone left unturned in trying to get everything accomplished that we needed to do to stay safe. So I don't know what to say other than it was stellar. It really was.
Speaking here with Quentin Hillsman, Coach Q, Syracuse Orange women's basketball head coach, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Q, for you to go through all of the COVID testing and everything that's gone on and have to follow a very strange year, the team also had to start and stop. The team had to deal with cancellations, and the team had to deal with positive cases. How did you navigate through all of that and figuring that out, because you were one of the teams that were affected by COVID?
Well, it was really about just being patient. We had to be really, really patient with everything through this whole process, because it was and adaptable, I think will probably be the other word. We had to be patient with our results, getting our results back, and those were some tedious days and some testy mornings when you wake up and your phone didn't ring yet. You're like, okay, and then you get it back, and then you're all good. And I think that it was just a testament, just to the resiliency of our staffs and our players and our medical advisory committee to just be steadfast and unmovable through this whole situation.
And I mean, was there ever any time of fear in all of this? I mean, knowing that some people can come down with being sick and having different family members at home and this and that. Maybe you have somebody that's more susceptible. Obviously, Tiana's been through enough with her cancer treatment. So was there ever, a fear or like really genuine concern that if it got into the program that's, somebody could be affected in a big way? I mean, did you feel a lot of weight on your shoulders, so to speak?
No, really didn't. I'll be totally honest, because I just felt that we were just all in a situation to where we were either going to do it or we weren't going to do it. I mean, there were no in betweens on that, right? Because it's about contact tracing and the things that you go through. There were no in betweens on this. Either you got it figured out, you followed the protocol and procedures, or you didn't. And that's pretty much what it was. And for the most part, we did that. Obviously, no one was perfect through this whole pandemic, even including myself. We all had some slip-ups, whether it was intentional, unintentional, COVID fatigue, whatever it was. So I think that everyone had a moment to where they just kind of like had that moment, and like, this is crazy, right? But somehow we got it done, and we got through it. I think that was the most important thing, was just to get through it.
In getting through it and getting to where you are today, when you look back on this season, I mean, you got to play Stony Brook and Lincoln of Pennsylvania, obviously had your ACC schedule, but some games like the Binghamton game was canceled, and, Virginia that was supposed to be on January 7th, that game canceled, and a game with Duke and whatnot, and trying to navigate and make things up and do what you can and and get through it the best you can, and sometimes, playing teams that you felt like you had just seen and all of that. So ultimately looking back at the schedule, how do you feel like things went? I know you said you're grateful that you had a season and you're just happy to do it, and if you were going to do it, you were going to do it. But at the same time, how do you look back on, the schedule itself, knowing that so many schools all over the country had to change and adjust on the fly, and you guys were no different than that, having to postpone games and cancel games as well?
Well, the hardest part about that whole situation to me was just being able to know what the reality of it was. Yeah. The reality was just simple, right? Your whole team, the travel party, everyone who touches your team had to test negative. If you all didn't test negative, you weren't playing the game. So that was real simple. I think that was the reality of it. The reality, we just knew that if there was one positive test, that the travel party and quarantine, everyone who touches your team was soon to follow. Had to test negative. So if you all didn't test negative, we weren't confused about that. So that was real simple. I know I keep saying the same thing over and over. I think that was the most redundant thing. But we knew exactly what was going to happen. There was one positive test, and I think that was the biggest thing was going through. Was soon to follow. Yeah. Everyone was very, so we don't test negative, we're not playing, and that was it.
Yeah, and for you, to coach in such a unique year, how did you handle it? When you look back on it, I know you're still in it. I know, the NCAA tournament's coming up, but how did you handle the fact that you're prepping for an opponent and the game gets canceled, you shift this, you move this schedule, this team's coming up a few days early, this team's getting pushed back? How do you scout and how do you prep in such a fluid year?
Well, you have to. What you have to do is have your principles in place for how you're going to play. I think the hard part about that was, we didn't have a regular preseason. We didn't have a regular summer. We didn't have a regular non-league schedule. So that was tough for young teams, which we were. We had 7 newcomers and 2 sophomores. So that's 9 of our 15 players that were freshmen and sophomores being freshman dominant. I think that was the biggest thing, is just try to get your system in place.
Yeah, and for you, the development of this team, positive, glass half full Q, who stepped up and who did you see when you had to deal with these things and different things going on in the starts and the stops and the changes and whatnot? Who did you see evolve and emerge? Because usually in a regular season, in a normal year, an injury might show a backup player emerge and get experience, and that person's going to help you now, but more so in the future. This year, very different because of everything going on, but still seeing people emerge. So what good have you seen come out of this season as far as the personnel on your team?
Well, I think just the camaraderie of our players and those guys sticking together. That was big for us, because our players really did a really good job of just having, they had to take care of each other. They had no choice. They really had to take care of each other, and I think that was the biggest thing through this whole situation. It was really about can we take care of each other? Can we be accountable to each other? Can we also they had to know that someone's kind of getting off panels and say, hey, they really had to take care of each other. Something like that. It was that we did through this whole situation. It was really about stay solid. Can we take care of each other? Can we be accountable to each other? And take care of each other and be accountable. Know that when someone's kind of.
Do you feel like, at this point, does it feel like regular basketball again? I know the masks are on and different things in that respect, but are you at a point, coaching-wise, where you feel like it's maybe becoming more natural again, and the focus is on that? You know what I mean? And you can really dig in that way, because it's been such a unique year where you as a coach have had to think about a million different things and have all these rules on top of rules and protocols, and you got to follow it. So beyond that, when you're on the court, does it feel like it's just getting back to basketball?
It does. Basketball feels the same, because everyone was in the same situation. Everyone was ultra competitive. There was a trophy at the end of the horizon. And whenever there's a trophy involved, it's not that hard to get focused. You know that there's a championship at stake, and it allows you to kind of play everything the same way, because you knew that at the end of the day, there are two trophies at the end. It's the conference trophy and the national championship trophy. And our goal was to get them both.
For you, speaking here at Coach Q on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Q, to get into that tournament, the ACC tournament, in just a second, I do want to give you a shout out here coming from Jimmy D over at Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Jimmy said good morning to us, and he said great job navigating this challenging season, Coach Q. And so I just wanted to share that message with you. That's business owners in our community, they're watching you, they're celebrating you. And, I think people need to know that, yeah, you could go in and watch the men's tournament, but you can also go in and watch the women's tournament as well. And I'm an advocate of seeing them both on the big screen. So shout out to Pizza Man, who just shouted you out, and Jim from there. But, the reality, Q, is that it's tourney time. And for the men and the women, there's a trophy at the end of this thing. And the local community and the local businesses are definitely supporting you.
It's no question. Everyone's always so supportive of everything that we do, and it's been amazing just through this whole situation that the support has gotten. Even it has really grown. Everyone seems to be really in tune to what we are doing. Everyone is really rooting for us and wishing us the best, and that means a lot to us. It really does.
So we jump into the ACC tournament. Your team advanced all the way to the Final Four of the tournament to play the number one seeded Louisville team, which eventually ended in a 13-point loss. The wins over Boston College as well as Florida State. Just bring me into the ACC tournament. You got to go down to Greensboro. You got to be in the postseason. First and foremost, how surreal was it to go back to the ACC tournament and go back to the moment that was right before the moment where the world changed for us? So how surreal was that, number one? And then number two, bring me through advancing to the Final Four of the ACC.
Well, I can tell you, going into that tournament, we always have the same goal, and that's to get that trophy. So we were very focused on winning that tournament. And the cool part about it was we got there, we played well, we had all negative tests, got home, had negative tests, but inside of those 2 moments were just some great basketball that our kids really competed at an extremely high level, and they gave us a chance to win every game there. And that's all you can ask for, is opportunity to win every game, and they really gave us the opportunity to win every game, and they really did.
Leaving familiar, I know obviously you traveled on the road to play games and whatnot, but going to the Coliseum and having all of the teams from the ACC converge in one area, how did that get worked out, and what can you say about the ACC and how they handled it? Because they'll be doing it again with the men's teams now throughout this week in all 15 schools. So how was the tournament handled in your opinion, and having every school from the ACC converge in one area at the Greensboro Coliseum? How do you feel like it went?
I thought it went great, man. They did an unbelievable job of like running. When we got to the tournament, I never felt like anything was different. It felt the same, and I think that was the biggest thing. Because we go to this tournament and they make it feel the same, and it really did. Nothing felt different about the tournament, and I thought that was the most amazing part going through it. Is like, unless you really, and then too, we had some fans there, not a lot. We had some fans there, and now you have some fans there, and you're playing in front of some people, and it just felt the same, because when you're on the floor and you're locked in, you really don't know who's there and who's not there until it gets in those tight moments when you have your fans rooting for you or the fans rooting for the other team. But more importantly, it was just a great opportunity to play at a high level to win the championship. Came a little short, but I thought that our girls really competed at a tremendously high level.
What did you learn? I mean, at this point in the season, speaking with Coach Q of Syracuse Orange Women's Basketball, what did you learn about the team now heading into the NCAA tournament, winning those games against BC and Florida State, advancing to the Final Four of the ACC tournament, and even in the loss to Louisville, obviously you win from you learn from your wins, you learn from your losses. What did you learn about your team at this point in the season, going through the ACC tournament from those 2 wins, including that loss to Louisville. What did it teach you as you step forward?
Well, it really taught me more than anything. It just taught me how tough our kids were. You know, they really competed at a tremendously high level. And they never once wavered on their commitment to winning. And we got locked into a rotation, got locked into a groove, and they played really, really well. I was just really excited and really happy for just all the effort and time they put in to making the season a success.
Now, was social distancing a trouble for you on the court, since you like to be at half court most of the time?
Well, my tests are negative so far, so I guess it worked out pretty good. But I never thought about that, man. That's something I got to think about. That was a kind of one of those sharpening questions I didn't think was coming.
Well, I mean, you know, Q, it's funny, though, because they talk about, like, the Jordan rule and different things that go on, but you got the Q rule. You know, they let you, more than any coach I've ever seen on this planet, they let you go on the court, 3-point line, half court. Sometimes you're eating popcorn. Sometimes you're drinking the water of the other coach. Like, you know, how did you get away with it? And did you kind of test your luck over the years? I mean, do I have to go back and is there like original tape of Q, like stepping out a little bit with Gina Castelli and then seeing a little bit more and a little bit more? I mean, how did you test your luck over time to the point where you essentially can, I mean, I'm just waiting for you to be under the opposing team's basket at this point. So I just, how did you get that far out?
Hey, man, it's called consistency, man. Consistency over time. I think they're just like immune. They're like, okay, just don't touch anybody, right? I don't know. It's hard to say, right? That's funny. I don't know. I'll tell you what, man. I've been fortunate. I can tell you that. I've been fortunate.
Yeah, man, and you know, and not only that, but you have used it as your style. I mean, the two things. There's a lot of things I know about you, Q, and we've built an awesome relationship over the years. But there's a couple things I know about you to be true. It's how far you can go out on the court, and it's that you will use anything as a fashion moment. Like, you will use anything to style, and even your mask game is up there in the clouds somewhere. So, you know, you got different masks, you're taking pictures, you're taking out, telling everybody to mask up on social media. Bring me into the mask game. Like, you got some type of Versace mask going on and whatnot. I mean, tell me about how you went from the shirts and the pants to the vests, and now your masks even look like you're like a fashionista out there right now.
Well, it started. My tailor, my shirt tailor, he said, you know, we got to figure out something. He said, you got all these suits and shirts, and you can't wear those little cloth masks. So he says, we got to figure out something. And I went to the fabric shop one day. I said, oh man, we can start making some masks out of these out of this regular fabric. So he was doing his shirt orders, and every time he would do a shirt order, he'd make me a mask. So anytime someone would order a shirt and there was any fabric left over, he'd make me a mask. So one day I just looked in the mailbox, I had like 40 masks, all these different kinds of cotton fabric. I'm like, oh man, they were monogrammed. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Then probably like about 50, 60 masks later, right, it became what it is, right? yeah, definitely.
So, and before we get into the NCAA tournament coming up here, really quick, a game that I got to. Sometimes you like to have the nostalgia, and being somebody that's been on, that's obviously internet radio, been on traditional radio. I love hearing it and picturing it. So Camilla, at the end of the game against Florida State, she was just insane. We look at the fact there's 6 seconds left. Team misses a 3-pointer. She gets a rebound. Y'all call timeout. Another 3-pointer's missed. She gets a rebound and then puts it back up. The layup at the basket, at the buzzer, 68-67. Bring me into that game. I know that the game, the next game up against Louisville, you wanted that championship trophy and you didn't advance farther than that game. But this moment, this was one of those one shining moments type of feel to it. And just the resiliency of the team that you've talked about already today being embodied in this play that I got to hear in real time and picture it. 68-67, this victory, how your team never said die, never gave up. And, I mean, draw it up for me. How did you plan this thing out? And did it happen like you expected it to or hoped it to? Were you totally surprised? Bring me into your eyes on that play.
Well, I knew that we had five seconds left, which is plenty of time. And I knew that everyone in that arena and everyone on TV said, okay, this is going to be a lob to Camilla. So if he wasn't planning for that, he probably wasn't planning to be at the basketball game or watching it. so we set the little diagonal screen, and I said, Camilla's not going to be open. I tell you that right now. They're not going to let her be open. I said, but I think that we can run some ghost screen action on the back end where we slip some stuff and maybe get something right at the rim. We ran the action, we got the slip, and Maeva bobbled the ball. I'm like, boy. But she had the wherewithal to kick it out to Kiki. So it's okay. We can. Because the game slows down so much when you have that much time. When there's so little time, actually, it feels like it's like 2 minutes. Because you watch every second just ticking. Every bounce of the ball takes like a second, right? So the ball gets out to Kiki. I'm like, okay, she shot it. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be it. And then the ball's in there. I'm like, okay, we got some time. And I saw Camilla on the backside. If she got the ball in her hand, what you think is she's gonna rush it, right? She's gonna rush it and not get a good look. She got the ball and gathered herself and got a good putback. And I said, wow, what an amazing play on her part. So it was the play that was drawn up, but it was the execution on the back end that went well. We just ball with the ball, but more importantly, Camilla didn't give up on the play, and that changed the whole game.
And that is a great vision through your eyes, and I appreciate that so much, and I know the fans listening do as well. Here with Coach Q. Coach, before I let you go, NCAA tournament, they have you projected right now in that 8 seed world, that 8-9 matchup that would put you against the number 1 seed in your region in the next round, if and when you advance to that round. So just what you can say about what your thoughts are. I mean, it's not a question of whether or not you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. It's a question of where and what the seeding is going to be. So what are your thoughts on the upcoming NCAA tournament?
Well, it's going to be just an unbelievable feat to get there. This has been a long season. And if you can get there, I think that you're 75% successful. Because getting there is going to be a tall feat. We're testing every day. You have to produce 7 negative tests before you can even board the plane. So that's going to be the feat, getting on the plane. If you get to the plane, you got a chance. So right now the goal is to get to the plane. And once you do that and you get there, it's going to be just an amazing event. I'm just trying to make sure you stay safe. You keep your plan in place, keep your team motivated, and get ready to play. So we're just excited to be have the opportunity. We should be solid in the tournament to get there and be able to play.
I mean, what do you think about how the tournament's trying to go off and what they're trying to do in this very unique year? I mean, do you feel like it can be done? I mean, what are your thoughts on how the women's D1 tournament's going to be handled?
Oh yeah, I think 100% can be done. And the thing about it is, because we're all going to one site and we're not doing a ton of traveling, you take that risk out of the equation. So hopefully, without the travel part of it, we can get there, get settled, get locked in, and stay in one spot, and just be bus rides away from playing games. And I think that's the most important thing. We're not shifting facilities, shifting states, and we're doing it at one time. You get there, lock in, you play the game.
That coming from Coach Q. Coach, the teams that you think, I mean, I know some of them may be self-explanatory, but in your opinion, who are the teams to beat in this year's NCAA tournament? I know anybody in front of you, but who are kind of maybe the dark horses that you think in the nation, and then the expected teams? Because we've seen the Texas A&Ms and the NC States and whatnot rise. And what are your thoughts on the tournament field itself?
I think the field is very balanced. I I think with the grad transfers and all those things and making all transfers eligible right away, and we had some early enrollees into some places that's actually made some really big impacts on these teams. It's just hard to say. I mean, I think that top 10 has been shuffled so much. I think anyone in that top 10 has to be a favorite because that top 10 is loaded. And then after that, I think it's the next group of teams that's probably another 25 to 30 teams that have opportunity to get some upsets and move along. It's just hard to say because you just never know going through this last week who's gonna be eligible to play because we still have the big C out there, right? We still got the COVID.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to say. It's funny because you think about that. That's what I asked you yesterday, and I said, I really don't know. Cause you just don't know what's happening between now and then. So, I guess we got to just wait and see.
In your opinion, when you talk about, those teams that are in the rankings in one group and another group, where is Syracuse in your opinion?
I think that we're definitely a top 25 team. We've slipped out of the polls. I know that we're a top 25 team. We were preseason top 25, and I think that we are a lot better than we were when we're a lot better than we were when we were number 16 and 14 in the country, whatever it was. So I'm very confident in our talent. I'm very confident in our team. So, yes, rankings mean a lot. We're not going to, act like it doesn't, right? Everybody wants to be recognized as being a top 25 team.
In your
at the end of the day, right now, I'm very confident in our top 64 team. Definitely that. So we just want to get there, and we know from 2016, once you get there, anything can happen. So we're excited to have the opportunity.
That coming from Coach Q. Coach Dale Shackelford sends his love from the great state of Florida. Syracuse Orange alum and a good friend of mine sends his love. And my family out in – I know that you love to travel when you recruit and you get to see the world. My family in Spain 5 hours ahead of time is watching as well. So
that's awesome.
You got love all over. Listen, maybe that family connect is going to help you find your next star in Spain. Who knows?
You never know. And I tell you what, I know one thing. Shaq's in Florida. He's definitely not doing what we're doing. He ain't shoveling any snow. So
no, Shaq's got a cigar outside. He showed me the pictures. Like he's enjoying. Listen, Q. When the tournament's done and Syracuse advances to the end and God willing hoists that trophy, then we need to go steal a couple cigars and sit on Dale Shackelford's porch. I think that's what's got to happen.
There's no question. I look forward to that.
That coming from Coach Q. Coach, final point here. You're not going to get a chance to do this once you step into the NCAA tournament. They'll be questioning you. You won't be asking them. So you and I have known each other for a while. We built our friendship. 3 questions. You can ask me anything. Let's rapid fire this. You've been through a lot, rapid testing and all the stuff you've had. So now it's time to rapid fire. You can ask me any 3 questions in the world, sports or unrelated to sports. Go ahead when you're ready.
What food did you eat the most during the pandemic?
What food did I eat the most during the pandemic? Well, I worked out like all the time, and I continue to do that. So I feel like I got to eat the stuff I wanted to eat. But I would probably say I ate, maybe pizza. Maybe I ate pizza. Okay. I tried to not eat it as much, but probably pizza.
Binge watch. What did you watch on TV?
What did I watch on TV during the pandemic? Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had never seen Game of Thrones. So I had the pleasure of watching Game of Thrones for me for the first time ever. And somehow, even though I'm in the entertainment world and I do the show Superpowered Pop and I go to the Comic-Cons and cover all this stuff, I didn't get any spoilers. I knew nothing. So I watched all 8 seasons without anybody telling me anything. And so I did that. That took up a lot. That took up my first couple months. And then what else did I binge watch? I started watching New Girl again because I love that show. And definitely WandaVision, The Mandalorian. I got into all that stuff.
All right, now.
Yeah.
My last one's a little personal.
Okay.
But I know the answer to this. If you give me the numbers too high, I'm going to call you out on this. How many outfits did you rotate during the pandemic? When you were home and you had to be in and not going out, restaurants closed, how many outfits, how many sets of clothes did you rotate?
You know, the funny thing is, I had some women tell me, like, what you got, like 4 wardrobe changes a day? So I rotated like you know, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. I got my cue on, is what I did. So I definitely rotated, man. And when I could sneak out and go to the grocery store, you saw me in one outfit. Then you saw me in another outfit later in the day. Then online, you saw me in a Zoom call outfit. Then you saw me in one on my show. So yeah, I'm known to change up. And I just got my Dan Tortora broadcast media, my Dan on Disney, and my Wake Up Call new line of apparel that's made here in the community. That just came out. So I've been rocking all different types of that and all that swag. So I gotta get you some Q Wake Up Call gear. I got to get you rocking that. I think we got to make that happen.
Man. I'm in. I can put a little flair on the back of it too. Let's do it.
And I got to ask you, Q, since you asked me this, I got to ask you quick. How many wardrobe changes? If I had 3 or 4 a day, does that mean you had 7?
No. That's why I asked you that, because I had 2.
Okay.
2 a day. I would get up in the morning, and I did the same thing. I worked out. I lost like 30-something pounds in the pandemic. Right, exactly. But whenever I went outside, I was walking, right? And I worked out. I got a little gym in the house. But I get up in the morning, I work out, and I would shower, put on some clothes, and sit around the house. And I was the same as you. Have my Zoom call outfits, right?
Yeah.
And I would, work out again, and then shower and change clothes, and thank goodness we started having some sports coming on, right? So I was able to watch some stuff. So yeah, man, just twice a day. And I had the same basket. I wash it, and I wear these 5 outfits, wash them, and wear them again. I wash like every other day. It was crazy. I washed so much because I just didn't feel like going in the closet and getting other stuff. It didn't make sense.
That coming from, I love that. That's the quote of the week. I didn't feel like going in the closet. It didn't make sense. So, Coach Q hanging out with us here. Q, as always, listen, I appreciate you. I know you got a lot coming up. I'll try and Zoom call with you during tournament time. Hopefully we can make that happen.
Figure it out. Yeah,
but I definitely appreciate you. I thank you for everything. The team has been resilient. It feels good. I mean, making it to the Final Four, it shows where they're at. And so I hope that you have a fantastic NCAA tournament. Obviously, I'll be talking with you through that all, but can't wait to see you soon. And as always, thank you for your positivity, your prayers, your humbleness, and everything that you bring to our community. You are a treasure of Central and Upstate New York, and if they don't know it, I'm going to tell them as much as I have to. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you so much, man. You take care of yourself, buddy.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Take care. That coming from Coach Q one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And so Jaron Willis has just told us that he will not be able to be on the show this morning. So we are going to ad-lib, and we're going to do our ACC tournament now. That's what we're going to do. So we'll take a step aside here in just a second. We'll get our ACC tournament set up, and definitely appreciate doing that. And that works out perfectly that we have the opportunity to do that with the ACC tournament starting today for the men's side of things. So I'll be bringing you my ACC tournament picks, and we'll be doing that for the entire brackets inside of the men's side of things for the ACC, which starts officially today and will carry us all the way through to Saturday, which is the day before, obviously, Selection Sunday. So very much looking forward to doing that. Jaron Willis, wish him the best. He had a schedule change with his class, and we've tried to navigate through that the last couple weeks, but it's an interesting thing when you deal with, who's online, who's not online, and who's doing what as far as, being in school and whatnot. So my best to Jaron, and hopefully we will get to speak with him soon. But in the meantime, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, I'm actually going to get the bracket ready for us right now so that I can write all over it. So we're going to have some fun here on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're listening on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, or if you're listening on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, now would be the time to shift over to us and get to us on, this side of things and hang out with us here on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, as well as on Facebook.com, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, so you can connect with us here where sports meets life. For those of you that are seeing a black screen right now, but you could still hear me, that is because we're adding the ACC's bracket here. So bear with us here for a second as we get ready to put the bracket up, and we're going to be covering this bracket right after the fast break. I will be bringing you my thoughts on the ACC tournament, and we will fill out this bracket live on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and so we may need to, I'll let you know, because I know the teams are going to be a little bit smaller here, but we will write in my picks all the way through, so we're going to do it in the moment, picking the entire field of the ACC tournament. Who's going to win day one, day two, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and ultimately the championship. That'll all come up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this fast break, where sports truly meets life. As always, thank you for being here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal bringing you, as Coach Q said, he loves it, and you can get out to it too on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Streets, as well as 401 South Salina Street, and of course in their new manliest location that you can pick up by going to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. With that being stated, we'll be back inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call right after this.
Avicolli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicollis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicolli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. You're also watching us here on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live now DT. And of course, you are watching us on youtube.com/wakeupcallDT. So very excited about this point in the show inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. You can go ahead and get ready to fill out your ACC tournament bracket. Why don't we do it together? So jump on it right now. Let's fill out this ACC tournament bracket together in this moment as I will bring it up on the screen for those of you listening. Obviously, I'll tell you the matchups and what's going on. For those of you watching, you'll get to see in real time me write all over this beautiful bracket as we get set to pick the field for the ACC tournament 2021 here. So your first matchup that you have today is Pittsburgh versus Miami, the number 12 versus the number 13 seed, and I'm going to write it in right now. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to defeat Miami in the first game here. So I'm going to go with Pitt to win that game, which means they would advance to play Clemson in the second round. Then we have Duke and Boston College. Boston College has had a tough season where they fired their coach mid-season. Just heard from Jim Christian on the show yesterday. I'm going to go with Duke to advance from there. And then we have Notre Dame and Wake Forest. Notre Dame has had themselves an interesting year as well. Wake Forest is one of those teams that's obviously struggled, and they've struggled throughout their recent history. Notre Dame, Mike Bray, not used to struggling. On the other side of it, we're looking at the fact that that Wake Forest has been a team that's been used to struggling, and with Danny Manning, they obviously struggled, and now moving forward, they're still at the bottom of the barrel of the ACC, number 14 out of 15 schools, 3-15 in the conference, 6-15 overall, while Notre Dame is 7-11 in the conference and 10-14 overall. I'm going to give the slight edge to Notre Dame in this one and have Notre Dame advancing to play North Carolina. So, once again, in the games today, Pitt versus Miami, 12 versus 13. I'm picking the 12-seeded Pitt to move on. Duke, the 10-seed, over the number 15-seeded Boston College. And I'm choosing 11-seeded Notre Dame over 14-seeded Wake Forest. So I'm picking all of the higher seeds to, however you look at it, higher, lower. I say higher when I mean the team that has the better number. The 12 over the 13, the 10 over the 15, but I know some people say lower, it gets confusing. But Pitt, Duke, and Notre Dame I am choosing. For tomorrow, for Syracuse versus NC State. NC State is obviously a team that is no slouch in the grand scheme of things. They're right there with Syracuse. Syracuse is 9-7 in the ACC. NC State 9-8. Syracuse 15-8. NC State 13-9. And when NC State and Syracuse squared off against each other this season, NC State lost at Syracuse 76-73, and then they also lost to Syracuse at home 77-68. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, but I believe Syracuse is going to at least get one dub in this thing. So I'm going to pick Syracuse to move forward to face the number 1 seeded Virginia, and then number 4 seeded Georgia Tech. Hard to believe Georgia Tech in that situation, but I'm going to go with Clemson to defeat Pittsburgh. And I say it's hard to picture Georgia Tech in that place because Georgia Tech has struggled for so long, but I'm going to pick Clemson to defeat Pittsburgh and face off against Georgia Tech, and we'll talk about G-Tech in a second. I think Clemson and North Carolina are the 2 dark horses of this tournament, so I'm going to pick Clemson to defeat Pittsburgh, and I believe they'll be able to handle business. I think that Pitt can get hot at different, I think they're the type of team you can never really count out, but Clemson's had a good season. They're 10-6 in the ACC. One of the teams one of only 5 teams that has a double-digit winning record in the ACC, and them at 10-6, North Carolina at 10-6, Georgia Tech at 11-6, and Florida State at 11-4, Virginia at 13-4. So Clemson playing up against Pittsburgh this year, just to give you some context on the game that they have coming up. The game that they were supposed to have against Pittsburgh was postponed on the road, and they played them at home and won 77-62. the last game that Clemson played was against Pittsburgh, and it's the next game that they'll play, in my opinion. So that's going to make for an interesting thing here for them to face each other twice in such a short amount of time. Then we have number 7 Louisville against number 10 seeded Duke for the rights to play Florida State. So weird, as I stated earlier in the show, to see Duke in day one. Not one of the top 4 teams. They're a 10 seed. So, looking at Duke right now, they're 11-11 on the season. They ended the season on a 3-game losing streak, lost to Louisville, lost at Georgia Tech, lost at North Carolina, got blown out by North Carolina 91-73. Very uncharacteristic. Played close with Louisville, lost by 7. And at Georgia Tech, they lost by 4. And then they also lost to Louisville by 5 earlier on in the season. I'm going to say, a third time around, it's going to be hard for Louisville to do it, but I'm going to pick Louisville to defeat Duke because I think Louisville's too dangerous. I know it's hard to pick against Duke, and I know a lot of people are probably picking Duke, but I'm going to pick the better team in my opinion, and Florida State-Louisville is a great matchup in the quarterfinals that I think will happen. Notre Dame and North Carolina, like I said, North Carolina is a dark horse to me of this tournament. So I'm going to pick North Carolina to advance to play Virginia Tech, which means that we'd set up the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament to be number 1 Virginia against number 8 Syracuse, number 4 Georgia Tech against number 5 Clemson, number 2 Florida State up against number 7 Louisville, and number 3 Virginia Tech up against number 6 North Carolina for the rights to move forward and get to the Final Four of the ACC tournament. Now, Syracuse's women's team made it to the Final Four of the ACC tournament, but I do not believe that Syracuse will beat Virginia. I think Syracuse would have to play their best game of the season out of their minds. I don't think it's impossible, but Virginia is the number 1 seed. I fully anticipate that they could very well find themselves on the last spot of this ACC tournament as the champion this year. Virginia, one of those teams that looks relatively unaffected by this coronavirus time, what they've been able to do. 17-6 overall, and the majority of those wins coming in the ACC, where they are 13-4. When we look at their play overall, they took care of business with pretty much everybody. A questionable game is that they lost to the San Francisco Dons 61-60 on the road in a non-conference game. But beyond that, they played number 1 Gonzaga, lost 98-75, but it's a good game to gauge where you're at, as well as give you some tape and get you familiar with a team you may see in the NCAA tournament's depths. So that's good. Then they came into the ACC and in a row took down Notre Dame on the road, Wake at BC, Notre Dame again at Clemson, who was ranked 12th in the country at the time, against Georgia Tech and Syracuse. They won all those games before losing at Virginia Tech 65-51. Then they defeated at NC State, Pitt, at Georgia Tech, North Carolina, 4 wins in a row. Then lost 3 in a row at FSU, who was ranked, lost by 21. Lost to Duke by a point. Lost to NC State by 7. Then defeated Miami and Louisville. So Virginia is beatable, and there are teams that are low in the ACC that have found a way to get high at the right time and take down Virginia. They've lost to San Francisco. Raise your hand if you knew San Francisco had a D1 team. I just like saying that because you probably didn't raise your hand, but if you did, I couldn't see it, which is kind of funny and kind of cool. But I think people do it just out of reflex. So looking at this, they are a beatable team. More often than not, they're winning, but they are beatable. And they're a team that doesn't usually score a ton of points. That 60 range is where they lie. And so that could bode really well for Syracuse. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. And if Syracuse wins 2 games in the ACC tournament, I think they're in the NCAA tournament. If they win 2 games, they're in my opinion. Because to win 2, they'd have to beat number 1 Virginia. And if they do that, I don't think there's any question in my mind. So, it's not impossible. But I am here to be impartial. Syracuse is my home. I always pick impartially. Whether people think I do or not is inconsequential. Their opinions of me don't matter. But I will tell you when I believe Syracuse can win a game, and I'll tell you when I don't think it's going to happen. And it's got nothing to do with being born and raised in Syracuse. It has to do with an impartial view of athletics. I believe Syracuse can beat Virginia. They got to play their best game of the season. So I'm not saying it's impossible. But I'm leaning more on the side of Virginia to win this game. I don't see Virginia going out of the ACC tournament with no wins. And Tony Bennett knows how to win the whole thing. So, and I was there when it happened. Georgia Tech and Clemson are next up on the docket. Clemson and Georgia Tech, they're neck and neck with each other. Georgia Tech a 4 seed and Clemson a 5 seed in this tournament because Georgia Tech had one more win in the ACC. They're 11-6. Clemson's 10-6. So looking at this and seeing their head-to-head matchups, Clemson lost to Georgia Tech 83-65 on the road, and then they defeated them at home 74-72. So this game is being played in the Carolinas, but Clemson will not be at home for this. To lose by almost a 20-point margin, to lose by 18, and then to win by 2, makes me a little nervous for Clemson in this quarterfinal round against Georgia Tech. But I think Clemson's going to win. Because I told you, I think they're a dark horse in this tournament. So I'm going to have Clemson advancing to play Virginia in the Final Four. And then we have Florida State and Louisville. I told you about Florida State years ago. Maybe some of you listened to me, 5 years ago. Some of you did, some of you didn't. Some of you still think it's a football school. I consider those people to be somewhat uneducated if they think that the basketball team is not pertinent to the times. So Florida State, to me, is one of the teams that I truly believe is dangerous. What I love about Florida State is they had last year taken away from them like everybody else did. However, Florida State could have been a number 1 seed in the tournament for the NCAAs, if not a number 2 seed. So, in my opinion, the fact that they're good again, and they're making it happen again, and they're only behind Virginia, that says a lot to me about where Florida State is at. And I love seeing that because they deserve it. Having last year taken away affected us all. And in the world of men's basketball, it affected Florida State in a big way because they could have been a number 1 or a number 2 seed. And they'll be fighting for it again. They defeated Florida here this season out of conference. We saw them get wins inside of the conference over Clemson by 19, who was ranked in the top 20 at the time. They beat Virginia by 21 points in the only time they played them, which is huge. And so there's something to be said there. So I'm going to give Florida State the nod in this one over Louisville. The head-to-head with Louisville, just to let you all know how that happened. They won that game 78-65 by a 13-point margin of victory, and that game was at Louisville. So I do believe Florida State will take care of business in this matchup. And the last one is North Carolina and Virginia Tech. Well, North Carolina, unlike Duke, is a team that I don't think it's that Duke is not trending up, because Duke is dangerous in any tournament, but North Carolina, to me, is clicking where they need to. Now, granted, they haven't done a ton this year, but they're 16-9, they're 5th in the ACC, and they've won 4 of their last 6 games. They just blew out Duke. They beat Duke by almost 20, which is unheard of. They beat Louisville by 45 points. Let me say that again. They beat Louisville by 45 points. They also defeated Florida State in recent history here, 78-70. And Syracuse beat them, which is something to be said. So Virginia Tech, on the other hand, Virginia Tech in their head-to-head with North Carolina, when we look back on their schedule together, they had their game postponed that they were supposed to play against one another, so they have not played against one another this season, which is a huge note here. They were supposed to meet up with each other after North Carolina played Virginia. They were supposed to meet Virginia Tech at home. That game did not happen, and so they didn't have to worry about it. and now they get to see each other again. Virginia Tech, to take a look at their schedule this season, they haven't done too shabby, but they had their last 2 games canceled, and they had 3 games postponed. So in their last 7 games, they had 3 postponements and 2 cancellations en route to the ACC tournament. So they've been out of action for a while. I think that bodes well for North Carolina, who I already think is a dangerous team. So the 2 teams that I said I think could win the ACC, and now this thing's going to write all over the place because it's going to give me trouble. So give me 1 second here, as it looks like I just, was playing with the chalkboard like a little kid. But let's advance all these forward again. So I have Pitt. This thing is going to be a pain in the butt. So I had Pitt winning the game here, and pardon me on this beautiful whiteboard footage as we get to the Final Four. But the note that I was making is the fact that the teams that I think are the 2 dark horses are the teams that I have advancing to the Final Four, and the 2 teams I thought could win it from the beginning, they're advancing too. So I stuck by my word that I've talked about this week. So I have Pitt here once again over Miami to play Clemson. That would have them in the second round, and I picked Duke over Boston College. So Duke would be playing Louisville, and I picked Notre Dame over Wake Forest to play North Carolina. Then I picked Syracuse over NC State to play Virginia. And I chose Clemson to play Georgia Tech. And then I had Louisville to play Florida State and North Carolina to play Virginia Tech, which brought me to my Final Four, which is one of the teams I said from the beginning could win it all, which is Virginia. And I also said Florida State could win it all, and I have them as well. And then I picked my dark horse of Clemson and my dark horse of North Carolina. So the 4 that were on my mind at the beginning of this tournament are the 4 that make it to the end of this tournament, in my opinion, which will advance Virginia and Florida State. And I think Florida State can score more points than everybody else. So my champion for the ACC tournament was the team that was crowned the champion last year for being the number 1 seed. Now I think they do it fair and square, and Florida State wins the ACC men's basketball 2021 tournament. Clemson is a danger. North Carolina, a big danger. This is a very tough thing for me to not pick them, because we know that in the ACC and in the state of North Carolina, this team could easily come all the way over here. But I think FSU is too much, and I think the number 1 and 2 seeds are fair. I want to see Virginia play Florida State again. The last time they played each other, Florida State took care of business, so I got Florida State because I see Virginia scoring in the 60s, and I see Florida State scoring in the 80s, and so I'm going to give Florida State the slight edge to win this year's ACC tournament. With that being stated, that is my bracket, and you got it ahead of time today, and so enjoy that. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll continue speaking in the sports worlds about different goings on right now. We'll update you on some stuff, and we will get into the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. We'll be back after this fast break. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening live. You're also with us on facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. All of it is inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal with that wonderful steaming hot cup of, what do you want it to be? Some of us coffee, some of us tea. I love my chai. Get it all at Cafe Kubal today. 5 locations: 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, and 208 North Townsend Street, as well as their location out in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street. The Behemoth. When you come into Manlius, all roads converge on one pinnacle building that is there with brown stripes, and that is your Cafe Kubal. It almost looks like brewing coffee. That's what the building kind of looks like to me. Go right in, relax, and have a good time, as well as to all of your Syracuse locations. It is extremely important now more than ever to give back to our local community. So buying a cup of coffee at Cafe Kubal, pulling up, getting out, walking in there, grabbing a sandwich, grabbing something to drink, that means so much to Cafe Kubal and to Matt Goddard and the entire company there and everybody working with them. So thank you to Cafe Kubal for all you do to fill our cups with a whole lot of love, a whole lot of community, and a whole lot of innovative and ingenuity. I know that you're constantly growing and blossoming and building, and I respect it and I appreciate it. So Cafe Kubal there for you for the home delivery mobile cafe, as well as their 5 neighborhood cafes here in central and upstate New York. So a big shout out to them for all of that. With that being stated, here with you this morning, being able to talk with Coach Q, phenomenal. Being able to unveil my ACC tournament brackets, also a lot of fun to be able to do that with you today. Again, the games are going on today in round number 1, and I'm very, very excited about that. We are going to have the opportunity here on Tuesday, March 9th, to see the teams go through it, as Miami and Pittsburgh, the 12 seed, will face off against 13 seed of Miami at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to officially usher in the 2021 men's basketball ACC tournament from Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. That'll be coming up first at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see number 10 Duke take on number 15 Boston College, and we'll round out the night as we get to see our final game of the ACC tournament, and that'll be number 11 Notre Dame taking on number 14 Wake Forest at 7 p.m., and all those games will be on the ACC network, and we get to see BYU and number 1 Gonzaga on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern Time today. Very much looking forward to that. So a lot of great stuff coming up, and I will be doing my bracket challenge once again. I think I'm going to start to open that up for all of us here and get that set up. So I'm going to be working on that today to make sure that we have that set and ready to go. We made the top in the world, not just the nation. We made the top in the world in brackets. I think we made the top 15, top 20 in the world a couple of years ago, since there wasn't one last year in 2019. We were the highest we've ever been. There was something ridiculous like 60,000 bracket pools, and we were in the top 15, top 20 for the amount of people that joined the bracket challenge for Wake Up Call. So very much looking forward to doing that with you again, and cannot wait for that. So a lot of great stuff coming up. A lot of prayers being sent out today, including to Aureli's family and their new baby boy. So moment of silence and prayer that everything works out all right with the little man, and God bless to you. And definitely send our prayers and our well wishes out to your son and to everybody, to Carly and Gracie and Jason and Kristen, and to everybody everywhere. To my guy Evan with his new job, to my buddy Rudy figuring out the next chapter of his life. We all have people that need us, right? And we all need, some love too. So I send out my positivity to everybody, and I hope you send it right back. So let's bring the good to the world, and let's be the best we could be. A lot of stuff to talk about this week on Wake Up Call. I'm not going to talk about it today because Mike and I will talk about it tomorrow. But Dak Prescott getting an extension from the Dallas Cowboys, very much needed. So I'm happy that happened. We'll be jumping into that. So we won't dive into it today, but we will save that for Mike. I know he's chomping at the bit to talk about that, so we will save it for him and I to discuss. But that'll be a huge conversation that we'll have here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. A lot of stuff going on. Les Miles is out at Kansas for everything, and there's a connection to LSU. So some things going on here. Let's take a little jump into this, actually, and talk about it a little bit here. So Les Miles looks like he may be in some trouble here. He's out as the Kansas football coach. He was placed on administrative leave amidst accusations of inappropriate behavior toward female students during his time at LSU. Kansas Athletic Director Jeff Long on Friday said the university would be reviewing Les Miles to take the appropriate steps. Late Monday evening announced that they had, quote, mutually agreed to part ways. So Jeff Long, the AD of Kansas, said, quote, I am extremely disappointed for our university fans and everyone involved with our football program. There is a lot of young talent on this football team, and I have no doubt we will identify the right individual to lead this program, end quote. So Long, he said he will use a search firm to find their new head coach for the Kansas Jayhawks D1 football program. He did not use a firm when he hired Les Miles, but he will use one now. Now, we look at the fact that the acting head coach right now will be Mike DeBoard, who was Kansas's offensive coordinator. He'll be the interim head coach until they determine a new head coach. So on Thursday of last week, a report was released on behalf of LSU, showed that a 2013 internal investigation accused Miles of inappropriate behavior toward female students, including allegations he contacted some via Facebook and text, met them off campus alone, and kissed at least one of them. So the report itself did not find that he had sexual relationships with any of the women, and Miles strongly denied kissing the student, saying he didn't do anything wrong and he was mentoring young women at the university. According to a copy of Miles' employment contract with Kansas, the university would have just cause to end the agreement if Miles had, quote, discreditable conduct that is inconsistent with the professional standards expected of a head coach of a collegiate sports team, end quote. So another clause in the contract that defines just cause is, quote, participation in by a head coach of any act, situation, or occurrence or any conduct which in athletics of KU's judgment brings head coach and or KU into public disrepute, embarrassment, contempt, or ridicule, end quote. I feel like this should be in every contract. Now I'm sitting here thinking, is this not in contracts? That, you know, if you put a university in disrepute, embarrassment, contempt, or ridicule, they have the right to end it. Or if you act in such a way where discreditable conduct that's inconsistent with the professional standards expected of a head coach of not just Kansas Jayhawks, but of a collegiate sports team, that they can do that too. So, I think that is definitely something interesting that I feel like should be in every contract. Les Miles said in a statement yesterday, quote, "This is certainly a difficult day for me and for my family. I love this university and the young men in our football program. I have truly enjoyed being the head coach at KU and know that it is in a better place now than when I arrived. To our student athletes, I want you to remember that you came to play for KU and earn a degree here. So I implore you to stay and build on what we started and do all the things we talked about doing together. There's a bright future for all of you and for KU football," end quotes. So pretty awesome words from Les Miles, essentially telling all the kids, stay, and we're going to get through that. You're going to get through this. Don't leave because I'm gone. Stay because we both committed to being at Kansas, and even though I'm not there, you should stay. I thought those were big words. So from what's written in his contract with Kansas, I commend Kansas for doing that as a university, and for how Les responded to the football program. I commend him for that. Miles' attorney, Peter Ginsburg, said the Kansas's decision to put Miles on leave as being based on media blowback and is categorized as being disturbing and unfair. So, the law firm Taylor Porter conducted LSU's investigation. Ginsburg told ESPN in a statement the results of the investigation, quote, should put an end to the baseless, inaccurate media reports that Coach Les Miles engaged in an inappropriate touching of an athletic department student volunteer 8 years ago, end quotes. So on Friday, a second report conducted by the law firm Hush Blackwell detailed systemic failures by LSU to appropriately report incidents of athletic-related sexual misconduct and abuse. Part of the report showed that former LSU athletic director Joe Oliva recommended in 2013 that Miles be fired as coach because of accusations of inappropriate behavior with female students. The 67-year-old Miles went 3-18 in 2 seasons at Kansas, including an 0-9 record in 2020. Their only Big 12 win in that time was over Texas Tech in 2019. Kansas hasn't won more than 3 games in a season since 2009. So, this is where we sit. Remember, Les Miles was fired at LSU after having an 81% winning percentage, but now he has been fired due to alleged misconduct. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, and the truth, as I believe, will always prevail. Can't hide forever. No matter how dirty somebody is and how successful they look, that dirt eventually, put it to you like this. If somebody rolls in manure over and over and over and over and over and over again, they may look like they're at the top, but eventually that you-know-what stinks. And somebody going to smell it at some point. So, if there's something to smell here, I hope they take care of it. And if there's not, well, then I hope that they take care of that too. Because accusing somebody of something that they didn't do is wrong. And covering up something that somebody did do is also wrong. So, I hope that we get to the bottom of it and that the right people, led by God, as always, bring to light the truth. Because the truth is the only thing that matters. So, my best to Kansas, my best to Les, and my best to all involved in that situation that has now taken Les Miles from the Kansas Jayhawks. They scored what looked to be a great coach, and now they're searching again. So, we'll see what happens, and you can be sure that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will pay close attention to that, as well as everything else going on in the sports world that we can talk about here on the show. And with that being stated, we'll take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call will be back right after this with the ingredients to success. Brought to you by Avicolli's.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out there and download their app on the way on the Google Play or Apple App Store. There you will have every single piece of their menu at your fingertips, from their homemade breads and desserts to quinoa bowls, rice bowls, brick oven pizzas, and all of their salads and sandwiches. The sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle what is today's Pulaski, ingrained in our community, ingrained in our taste buds. And I just had their brie pear bacon maple breakfast pizza. And if it sounds game-changing, it's because it is. The Millhouse Market, consistently making me pick a new favorite every Tuesday through Sunday. You can go for Sunday brunch, breakfast served all the way through 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays inside. And, of course, you can indoor dine with them on the weekends as a whole. You can go to their drive-up window Tuesday through Sunday on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. And, of course, you can go inside to their general store Tuesday through Sunday as well. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the general store is open throughout that time for you to shop local products from local companies. I just bought some local maple syrup and some local honey from some amazing companies that are supported by Millhouse. So thank you to the Millhouse Market for all that you do, and make sure you check out their new promo about those local products from local companies on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. The Millhouse Market, worth the drive every time. And back here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, Cafe Kubal here with you with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. They are the studio partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the exclusive studio partner, and they have locations all throughout Central and Upstate New York, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and 401 South Salina Street, each in Syracuse, and their location in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street. Head out to see Cafe Kubal today and fill your cup with whatever love you want, whether it is tea, my chai that I love so very much, could be pumpkin spice, could be mint, the chai itself, fantastic. Any one of their coffees, the double shot of espresso that you get, Coach Q gets when he goes out to Cafe Kubal, as well as their awesome sandwiches, their breakfast, and of course those desserts that are so very tempting to just buy them all. And sometimes I feel the need to, but I got to leave some for the community at Cafe Kubal. So make sure you head out there today. It is now time, as always, every single Tuesday, to bring you the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's. The ingredients to success brought to you by Avicolli's is on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. You could go to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. And going there to myavicollis.com, get 10% off all online orders by using the promo code AVS10. That's AVS10 at myavicollis.com. You can also call them at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 to get to Avicolli's for curbside pickup, catering, takeout, and delivery, and also for their hours, as well as companies are starting to move closer to 100% capacity again. A lot of great stuff coming up with Avicolli's, including, as the weather gets better, opening up that outside dining that you can see right from the road. So very, very cool stuff going on at Avicolli's. And every Tuesday, getting to bring you the ingredients to success. And once a month, we get to go there with Liverpool Athletics and showcase them on site, on location, on the pizza side of Avicolli's. So the ingredients to success, the topic for this week is going to be outside noise. Outside noise, right? Sometimes we're sitting outside and we're trying to find some zen, find some peace. We're listening to music and we hear right? And we're like, is it a fly? Is it a bee? If it's a bee, I'm going to freak out. If it's a fly, I'm still going to freak out, but at least I'm not going to get stung, right? So, outside noise. Sometimes it's literal, like a bee, or a fly, or a gnat. Sometimes it's figurative, right? Outside noise. Somebody saying something that we don't like about us. Somebody doing something that we don't like that's connected to us. And dealing with outside noise is today's topic. Because we all have it. There's always there, right? And with social media, outside noise is everywhere. Lock yourself in the bathroom, you still hear the outside noise because social media is everywhere. So what do we do with it? How do we handle it? How do we deal with outside noise? Well, in my book, above all things, I believe in God. I know some people that listen and watch the show, you don't. Or maybe we have a different way of believing, who knows. And I welcome everybody to the show. I don't turn anybody away for a difference in a belief. It's not my job to judge. My name, Daniel, literally means by definition, God is my judge. So I don't judge, nor does my namesake even tell me that I'm allowed to. So, from my point of view, and you can have your own, of course, I think what we've learned in today's world is you can have an opinion, but I can't. I feel like that's and I'm saying that figuratively, but like, you know, where people tell you, like they tell you that you have to appreciate their opinion, but then they can attack you for your own, and that's outside noise, again. So how do we deal with outside noise? Well, first and foremost, to me, I believe in something bigger than me. I believe in God. And I couldn't tell you that I deal with outside noise without telling you that first and foremost I pray, I talk to God, I surround myself with positivity, people that know me, people that could speak on my behalf and actually know who I am. Shout out to Lisa, shout out to Jimmy, Elaine, James, my mom, my dad, Evan, Ross, Matt, Rob, Dale, Q that you heard from today, Tammy, so many people that can speak on my behalf and really truly know me. Nico, Miguel, my Aunt Donna, my Aunt Ev. So, I think the companies I work with, they could tell you who I am, my character, how I treat people. So, I think that first and foremost in dealing with outside noise, you surround yourself with God. You pray. You breathe. Breathing's a big thing. I've been taught to breathe my whole life. I didn't listen until now. It works. You surround yourself with good people that know who you are. Your family. As a single man in this world, especially going through Corona and all that, sometimes you sit here and you're like, oh man, it'd be nice to come home to somebody, right? And what I realized is when you focus on coming home to somebody, sometimes you lower your standards of who you come home to because you're so focused on coming home to somebody, right? And that's not always a good thing because you shouldn't come home to just anybody. And what I realized over these last little bit is I was not always appreciating the time that I had with family and friends, and really just family. I mean, my friends that are close to me, I consider them all family. So my family, I wasn't really appreciating that time. Where now I'm not looking to bring a new girl to the family party. I'm looking to just go to the family party. And if God brings somebody in my life, then great. If he doesn't, then great. Because I know I'll be in good company when I'm with my family. So I would tell you, dealing with the outside noise, surround yourself with good people. Care for your pets. If you have a fish or a bird or a dog or a cat, build those relationships. Because there's something amazing about the fact that I forget that Lily's a dog all the time because she trusts me completely. She loves me unconditionally. And I can literally treat her like a kid, and she just accepts it. I mean, she's always had that from me, and she gives me that back. I forget holding her in my arms sometimes like a baby that she's a dog. And because she just gives me so much love, and she's so real, and she's such a great soul. So focus on that. That's what one of my friends said to me yesterday. They're like, how can you stay negative when you come home to Lily? You have so much good in your life, including Lily. And so I would tell you to appreciate that. I would tell you to do things to deal with the outside noise. Listen to music. Literally shut off the outside noise, right? I would tell you to really breathe is what I said, but to breathe in the moment. When you know you have to deal with someone that you don't like dealing with because of work or whatever it may be, or they're friends with your friend, or they're in your family, don't dread it. Be positive. And if things don't go, think about it like this. Things are probably not going to go your way with that person. They're probably going to screw you over. They're probably going to lie to you. They're probably going to be a jerk. They're probably not going to listen. They're probably going to be selfish. They're probably going to be miserable. So, bank on that. If you know you got to deal with someone that you don't like dealing with, bank on the fact that they're going to be negative. And they're not going to give you what you want. Because then if they do, it's like, wow, cool, right? But then you're not getting up for the letdown, so to speak. And I'm not saying that means don't be positive. Be positive, be upbeat, be happy. But don't expect anything from the people that piss you off and let you down and constantly are just not human. Don't let those people get to you, because if you're constantly expecting them to change and they don't, you're going to constantly be negative and you're going to constantly be stressed. And that outside noise is going to get to you. But if you picture that whenever you see that person, it's going to, if you picture that they're going to be that fly and one day they're not, and if they are, you were prepared for it. So Keep God first. Pray. Breathe. Surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with love from animals and people, and do things that help you to calm down. Listen to music. Go for a walk. Call somebody you love. Shut the door and scream at the top of your lungs so you don't scream at anybody. Take a drive. Go get your favorite pizza. Go to the movies. Do the things that make you happy. Do the things that you enjoy. Celebrate your life. Because the outside noise is never going to stop. There's always a chance when you walk out the front door that a bug is... There's always a chance it's going to happen. So if you get mad every time the bugs are... When you go outside, you're going to be mad every day. You're going to be stressed every day. But if you treat outside noise, which is all of the noise that's not you, how you treat what is outside of yourself is what determines how good your life is or how not great your life is. Because your stress level is going to be here or it's going to be here. And my job is to help you bring it down. Right? God bless, no stress, do your best. That's what I say every show. If I don't live it, I'm a hypocrite. If you don't live it, then, what are we doing? So, the outside noise is exactly that, outside. It's not inside. God put it outside for a reason. If you open your door and you let it in, that's you. Right? And sometimes we open the doors and the flies get in, and the bees get in, and the spiders get in, and the gnats get in. Sometimes we open the door and they get in. And it's our job to get them back out. Right? It's our job to get them back out. Because it's not worth ruining your inside because of the outside. So if somebody's always on your case, hey, it's outside noise. Somebody disrespects you, always comments negatively on your social media, hey, it's outside noise. Somebody's not treating you right, it's outside noise. And if you have a choice to get away from it, if it's a relationship, get out of it. And if it's work, hey, can't help the people that you got to work around. But it's not about them. They're never going to change. It's about you. It's about what you're going to do when the flies and the bees and the spiders start, crawling up your face and buzzing around. How are you going to react to it? They want you to be scared. They want you to swat at them. They want you to spend your whole day doing this, looking like a maniac. When I want you to spend your whole day doing this and being peaceful. So, we deal with the outside noise by focusing inward, praying to God, and surrounding ourselves with good people, with good things. Call it our mosquito net, so to speak. And with that being said, those are your ingredients to success. Proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Go to myavicollis.com to get 10% off. That's myavicollis.com and use the promo code AVS10. It's AVS10 for 10% off all of your online orders. You can also go to Cafe Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Honda City of Liverpool, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, and of course, another promo code for you to circle and know, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn, maandpazpopcorn.com. That's Ma and Pa's popcorn.com. Use the promo code DT20. DT20. Any one of the 50 states, whether you are living in our community and picking up in our community, and you can drive to their location in Liverpool on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, or you're ordering online. If you go online to Ma and Pa's, got to do the Disney point, right? If you go to Ma and Pa's popcorn.com and use the promo code DT20, you get 20% off. So make sure you do that today for in-store or delivery. I want to thank Coach Q, the ACC, let's have a great tournament. Last year we didn't get to finish it. This year, if we finish it, it's a win for all 15 schools, no matter who wins. So God bless. No stress. Do your best with that. Shout out to the ACC and all the tournaments going on. I pray and I hope for your health, safety, and happiness above all, and great competition, and that everybody stays well, no injuries, and all the good stuff for all the teams and everyone involved and all the families. Thank you to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success. This week's topic, keeping out the outside noise. And we got plenty coming up for you this week as we will spend the rest of the week with Syracuse Orange basketball alumni, as we always do during ACC Conference Tournament time. Conference Tournament Championship Week is spent with the people that are connected to Syracuse. So you will hear from the Dale Shacklefords, the Roosevelt Bowie Juniors, the Hal Cohens, the Jim Lees, the John Wallaces and company on Wake Up Call this week. Very excited for that. And, of course, so much more to come up, including fantasy football talk, Dak Prescott's contract with Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, and our joint venture of the Winning Fantasy Football group on Facebook that you could join for free by searching Winning Fantasy Football on Facebook search bar. So do that. And, of course, we have the Annoying Moment of the Week, the ingredients to success today. The Annoying Moment of the Week presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver with Juanita Ward, presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. And the Top Dog of the Week presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding will all be coming up for you this week. A lot of great stuff. Appreciate you so very much. And, of course, Cuse is in the house, as always, and throughout this ACC tournament week with guests from Syracuse basketball history. I will bid you adieu for today. You have my bracket. You have had my time. I hope you've appreciated it. I have appreciated you. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And we will be back here, God willing, tomorrow. And today we start off Tea with Rex, which is live right here on Facebook.com/live-now-DT at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time every other Tuesday, starting today, March 9th, with Rex Culpepper of Syracuse and HP Plant History. He'll be joining me every other week. Can't wait to do that. So make sure you tune in for that, a wake-up call creation, and so much more. Have a great day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I'll talk to you soon.